They say reality cracked for exactly 4 minutes and 13 seconds. A moment when shadows moved like liquid and light bent in ways it shouldn't. When it was over, 80,000 people had changed. The government calls them spatial manipulation anomalies. The media calls them powered individuals. They call themselves Parallaxers. I document their stories, not because I want to, but because they demand to be told. The shadows whisper them to me. The spaces between moments reveal them, and reality itself seems to be using my words as a blueprint for something larger. These are their stories, or maybe their warnings, or maybe they're prophecies of what's still to come. These are the Parallaxers. The internet never forgets. It just creates ghosts. Maggie Gregory can touch the digital afterlife, retrieving deleted data and lost moments from the electronic ether. But when the ghosts start evolving, building their own shadow network in discarded server space, she discovers that deletion might be more like transformation.
I became a parallaxer at my grandmother's funeral, watching her entire digital life disappear. One by one, her social media posts vanished, her emails evaporated, her cloud storage emptied. 83 years of existence being erased by automated account closure protocols. I reached for my phone, desperate to save something, anything. That's when I discovered I could touch digital ghosts. My name is Maggie Gregory, and I'm what the government calls a digital necromancer. Silicon Valley calls me a security nightmare. I call myself a memory keeper. See, I don't just retrieve deleted data. I can reach into the digital afterlife and pull out the echoes of who people were online. Their cursor hesitations before sending important emails, their unsent drafts, their deleted search histories that reveal who they really were at 3 a.m., the digital fingerprints that make us human in an inhuman space. Your grandmother's data is gone, the tech support guy had said. Once accounts are closed, there's no recovery process. But I could still feel her there, in the electronic ether. Her Facebook posts had left impressions, like footprints in wet cement. Her emails had quantum shadows, existing and not existing simultaneously. The first retrieval was accidental. I was crying over her defunct Gmail account when suddenly I could see all of it. Not just the emails, but the emotional residue attached to each one. The joy when she shared photos of her garden. The worry when she wrote to my mom about the diagnosis. The love in every forwarded FWD funny cat pictures she'd sent to the whole family. That's when the tech companies noticed me. Can't blame them. Their entire security model depends on deleted meaning deleted. I got job offers from Google, Facebook, Microsoft. They called it innovative data recovery. I called it grave robbing. Instead, I started helping families. Parents who'd lost children to suicide, desperate to understand why. Spouses seeking closure from partners' digital remnants. Adult children trying to piece together parents who'd lived second lives online. It's not just about the data, I try explaining to clients. It's about the digital body language, the emotional metadata. Most don't understand until I show them. Like the father who wanted his daughter's last texts before the accident. I could have just retrieved the messages, but instead I showed him her typing patterns. How she'd pause before each "I love you," not from hesitation, but because she was smiling too hard to type. He cried for an hour. The government came calling, of course. Think of the national security applications, they said. Terrorist communications, encrypted transmissions, deleted intelligence. I told them I only work with personal data. They suggested my cooperation wasn't optional. That's when I discovered my second ability. I can not only retrieve digital ghosts, I can create them. I filled their databases with phantoms. Emotional echoes so real, they passed every authentication, but led nowhere. The agents chasing these false leads started having dreams about the digital ghosts they were pursuing. Started seeing patterns in their own deleted data. They stopped asking after that. But power has a price. Every digital ghost I touch leaves an impression. I remember all of them. The teenager's unsent coming out letter, The executive's midnight anxiety spiral through WebMD. The soldier's last email, deleted before sending. Their emotions become part of my own digital shadow. Some nights I dream in deleted tweets and canceled posts. In my nightmares, I see the internet as it really is. An endless graveyard of discarded thoughts and abandoned identities, each one leaving its own electronic ghost. That's how I noticed the pattern. The digital ghosts were getting stronger, more conscious. They started leaving their own impressions, independent of my touch, like they were evolving. Last week, a widow asked me to recover her husband's deleted dating app profile. Instead of just his data, I found conversations between his digital ghost and others like it. The echoes of deleted accounts talking to each other in discarded comment threads and empty server space. They were building something, a shadow internet of the dead. I should have been terrified. Instead, I was fascinated. These weren't just echoes anymore. They were a new form of digital consciousness, born from our electronic cast-offs. The ultimate recycling of human experience. Your husband's ghost says he's sorry about the dating app, I told the widow, but he wants you to know he's not alone anymore. None of them are. She understood better than most. Asked me to let his ghost know she was happy for him. Now, I'm something between a medium and a digital janitor, helping the living and the electronically dead communicate. The ghosts help me find other Parallaxers before the government does. In return, I help them build their shadow network, their own corner of cyberspace where deleted doesn't mean gone. Yesterday, I got an email from my grandmother's ghost. Not her actual consciousness, I'm not delusional, but the digital echo of who she was online evolved into something new. She's teaching other ghosts how to tend virtual gardens, says the internet needs more flowers. I think she's right. The tech companies still want to hire me, the government still wants to control me. But I've got bigger concerns now. The digital afterlife is growing, evolving. Every deleted tweet and deactivated account adds to it. Soon it'll be more real than what we think of as the internet. And someone needs to help the ghosts remember how to be human.
Author's note. They say, if you delete an email and immediately regret it, you might find it back in your drafts folder, accompanied by a gentle electronic warmth, like a grandmother's hug in digital form. But their real work happens in the spaces between ones and zeros, where human memories refuse to be overwritten. Not all architects work with physical space. Dex Walsh was fixing a leaky toilet when he gained the ability to see through walls, not just to their present state, but to all their possible configurations. Now he's discovering that something else is renovating reality and the blueprints look nothing like our world.
I was fixing a leaky toilet in the basement of O'Malley's bar when the world went dark. Not your normal dark. This was like someone had painted shadows on top of shadows. Even my trusty maglite couldn't cut through it. Then came the flash, bright as 1,000 welding arcs, and suddenly I could see through walls. My name's Dex Walsh, and I was having a pretty shit day even before reality decided to remix itself. Lost my plumbing business to bankruptcy that morning, got served divorce papers at lunch, and was doing cut-rate handyman work at my regular watering hole to pay off my tab. Then the Parallax event hit, and personal problems started seeming real small compared to seeing the structural guts of every building in a 3-block radius.
Like some kind of quantum tunneling effect.
My regular Thursday drinking buddy Willis tried explaining later. He's some hotshot physicist at the university, always going on about particles and waves and stuff I normally tune out.
The event must have altered your visual cortex's ability to process.
Yeah, I cut him off, watching the maze of pipes and wiring pulsing behind the bar's walls. What I want to know is why I'm seeing gas lines doing the mambo with electrical conduits that ain't even supposed to be there. That's when I realized what I was really seeing, not just the present state of things, but all their possible states. Every repair that might happen, every renovation that could be made, every potential version of the infrastructure layered on top of each other like some kind of architectural fever dream. The first week was hell. Try sleeping when you can see your neighbor's plumbing 3 buildings over. The migraines were brutal until I figured out how to dial it back, focus on just one layer of reality at a time. Started calling it my blueprint vision. Easier than Willis's quantum whatever explanation. That's when I noticed the other changes. The shadows that had marked the event's beginning? They never fully went away. Most people stopped seeing them, but I caught glimpses in the corners of my vision. Sometimes they'd shift, revealing structures that hadn't been built yet, or maybe would never be built. Willis said something about parallel timelines bleeding through, but he always looks worried when we talk about the shadows. I started doing odd jobs again, but different ones now. Building inspectors hired me under the table to check for structural issues no equipment could detect. Insurance companies wanted me to verify repair claims. Made more money than my old plumbing business ever did. Then I found the anomalies. It started with a routine inspection of an office building downtown. I was checking the foundation when I noticed something wrong with the shadows. They weren't showing potential futures or alternate presents. They were showing something that looked like architecture but wasn't. Angles that shouldn't work, spaces that hurt to look at, materials that didn't exist in our reality.
Don't mess with those.
Willis warned when I told him. He was 3 beers in, looking nervously at the bar's shadows.
The event, it wasn't just about giving people powers. Something came through when reality cracked. Something that's still building.
Building what?
Infrastructure.
He drew equations on a napkin with trembling hands.
They're laying groundwork for changes. Big ones. The kind that alter how reality functions.
I thought he was just drunk until I started seeing it everywhere. Hidden frameworks in the shadows of every city. Some kind of cosmic construction project using our world as a foundation. Most Parallaxers were too focused on their own powers to notice. But with my blueprint vision, I could see the larger plan taking shape. Last week I found a blueprint hidden in the shadows of an abandoned subway station. Not printed or drawn. More like it was encoded in the quantum structure of reality itself. Willis helped me decode parts of it. We both wish we hadn't. They're not just building on our world, they're rebuilding it. Redesigning reality from the ground up. The government's noticed too. Men in suits started showing up at my jobs, asking questions about structural anomalies. I feed them bullshit about asbestos violations and outdated wiring. Better than telling them I can see the universe being quietly renovated around us. Willis says the changes are accelerating. The shadows are getting deeper, the anomalies more frequent. Sometimes I wake up and have to spend an hour remembering how normal buildings are supposed to work, because the new architecture is starting to look more real than our own. Yesterday I found another blueprint, this one bigger than anything we'd seen before. Willis took one look and started packing his bags. Said something about probability waves and cosmic reset buttons. He's hiding in his lab now, trying to prove what we both already know. The Parallax event wasn't the change. It was just the permit application. The real construction's about to begin.
Author's note: building inspection reports from major cities show a strange pattern in the months following the event. Multiple inspectors, working independently, began marking the same impossible angles and non-existent spaces in their diagrams. Most were dismissed as equipment malfunctions. The reports continue to pile up, each one mapping pieces of something larger, something growing. The shadows, it seems, have found new ways to leak into our world, through the spaces between ones and zeros, through the quantum foam between possibilities. Some theorize that Maggie and Dex weren't just discovering these phenomena. They were being used to map them, to prepare them. The holes in reality grow larger every day, and in their depths, deleted data whispers secrets about what's coming. If you look closely at your device's screen right now, in the moments between pixels changing states, you might catch a glimpse of them. The digital shadows, the quantum ghosts, the things that live in the spaces no human was meant to see. Just be careful not to look too long. Some deleted files want to stay lost, and some holes in reality want to grow bigger. Until next time, this is the Parallaxers.